What's up, everybody, and welcome to my 3 Takeaways episode from the Jerry Farber interview this past Monday. Jerry is an 81-year-old, and this guy has not retired yet. He doesn't even want to retire. He wants to continue to learn, continue to work on his craft, and just continue to get better every single day. And that's what I talk about on this podcast all the time, is that getting closer to the best version of yourself is a constant journey. It's never ending. We can't ever get complacent with where we've gotten to a certain point in life. We want to continue to grow. We want to continue to develop and continue to evolve. And I think Jerry Farber is the epitome of that. And I really greatly admire him for wanting to continue to learn and continue his career. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. If you haven't listened to it yet, make sure you go back and give it a quick listen. And make sure if you enjoyed it that you leave a quick rating and review. Let me know what you enjoyed, maybe what you didn't enjoy. Give me some feedback. That way I can know what to continue to bring to the show and what I know I need to start adjusting and start changing and start developing, so I can continue to make this show as good as possible and continue to bring the best guests on as possible. So it'd be a great support if you guys would leave a quick rating and review, and share it with a friend. If you like the Jerry Farber interview, share it with a friend who loves comedy. Share it with a friend who maybe is discouraged because they're getting a little bit older in life, but you're never too old to chase after those things that you want to chase after, and never too old to chase after goals and continue to develop yourself. But other than that, I want to get right into my 3 takeaways. Number 1 is be authentic. I really liked how Jerry talked about this, and I kind of got this takeaway from him talking about his going into a comedy routine, because I asked him, how do you prepare going into a comedy routine? Do you lay out a specific timeline of what you're going to bring up, what stories you're going to tell, what jokes you're going to tell, and everything like that? And he says, I have some go-tos that I can always fall back on, but I always want to make sure I'm completely authentic with the audience. I want to interact with them beforehand. I want to interact with them during and after. And if you completely interact with them authentically and you're your true self, then he was like, you kind of know where to take the skit. You know where to take your routine, because you can kind of read the crowd and see what they're feeling. And because you're authentically feeling them, you can bring your authentic self out based off of that feeling. So I thought that was really cool. And he attributed a lot of his success to being authentic with the crowd and with the audience. Number 2 is learn from your failures. Obviously, a huge part of the episode, and my favorite part of the episode actually was when he talked about his biggest failure as a comedian. That story where he went in, he talked to a lot of people beforehand, and they asked him, like, who are you? Like, I know these other comedians. I don't know who you are. Have you ever been on TV? And he started to have that self-limiting belief, like, oh no, like, they're not going to like me. And he drank a good amount before he actually got on stage. And so he wasn't on his A game, and he was supposed to go up there and perform for an entire hour. And he performed for 20 minutes because he bombed so badly. He was supposed to get paid $5,000 for the gig, and he only got paid $2,500 because he didn't fulfill the expectation. And so this huge failure, it taught him the lesson of making sure that he evaluated the audiences that he got offered before he actually accepted the offer. Because, guys, we fail all the time. We screw up all the time, but it's not enough to just fail and then say, like, learn from your failures, because you have to actually sit down, evaluate what happened, evaluate why you failed, and then start to make the adjustments. And he made the adjustments of not going to every single audience, of making sure that he didn't let others attack his self-limiting belief, or he didn't let others' opinions of not knowing him get to him in terms of thinking of himself as less than who he actually is. And so I think those takeaways are really big. And then he started to adjust on that and not let the crowd affect him, and make sure that he approached the right audiences in the right way. So I think that was really cool. It was a pivotal point in his career, and he continued to develop and learn from that failure from there on out. And he had more failures, and he continued to learn from those. Takeaway number 3 is control what you can control. And I got this kind of towards the end of the episode during a brief clip when he talked about how you can't necessarily control whether or not other people think you're funny. So as much as you want to try to make other people laugh, you can do your best to making the best joke possible, but you can't control what other people think is going to be funny or not. But what you can control is being professional. And you can control showing up, being authentic, like I talked about in takeaway number 1, being professional with everyone in the audience, everyone who is a guest, and talking with them and everything like that. And then going up on the stage and being professional, not messing around, not joke. Like, obviously you're a comedian, so you're going to joke around, but you can still do it in a professional manner and not mess around too much, and have structure and have intent and have focus when you're on stage. And then after you're on stage too, be professional with the audience and don't mess around too much just because you're a comedian. So I think that was really important to control what you can control, because it is one of those things where a lot of us in our professions, we want to control how other people feel and how other people see you. And it isn't important how other people see you, but control what you can't control, because you can't control their opinions or their beliefs or how they see you as being funny or not. Control your professionality and how you show up yourself. So again, guys, my 3 takeaways. Number 1 is be authentic, because I think that's one of the things that was the keys to his success in his career, to show up, interact with his audience as who he truly is during the show, before the show, and after the show. And that was one of the biggest keys to his success. Number 2 is learn from your failures. We all fail. We all mess up. And I almost don't like having learn from your failures as a takeaway, because it's so many people say it all the time. But to me, the most important thing is, how do you actually learn from your failures? How do you actually fail and then make sure it doesn't happen again? It's actually taking the time to sit down, evaluate why you failed and what exactly happened, and then how can you actually start taking action steps on making sure that exact thing doesn't happen again. Like, you're going to fail again, but make sure it's not in the exact same way. So again, when you fail, why did you fail? What happened? Now what can you start doing to make sure it doesn't happen again? And number 3 is control what you can control. This was one of my favorite ones because it came up at the end, and it was very a brief clip that I got it from, but I thought it was really powerful in the sense that he was like, you can't control whether other people think you're funny or not, because a lot of us try to do that. We try to control other people's belief on how they see us, and that's where we kind of mess up. Control what you can't control. He was like, you can control being professional, showing up as a true professional, not messing around, and being focused and being intentional about everything that you do. So I hope you guys really enjoyed these 3 takeaways. I hope that you really love Jerry Farber. I loved his energy being 81 years old, but he was still so full of life. And still willing to continually learn day in and day out, which is so powerful. So if you like this episode, leave it a quick rating and review on the Apple Podcast app. All you got to do is go to the main section of the show, scroll to the bottom, click write a review, and let me know your feedback. Could be 5 stars, 1 star, 2 stars, whatever it is. I just want to hear y'all's honest opinion on what you think about the episode, and let me know what your favorite takeaway was, and start taking action to get a little bit closer and closer to your best you.